All right. Thank you, Montessorians, for joining us for another session of our office hours. It's June 30th, and we do this every Thursday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific. Um, we're taking a short hiatus from our coaching calls, which we're covering Matt's Montessori marketing method. And while he's out of town, we're reverting back to our normal weekly office hours where you can jump on with us live, ask any questions that you have, discuss anything that you may be struggling with, and just chat about all things Montessori. And I'm thrilled to introduce the newest member of our team. Her name is Deneen. She's a soccer, what do I say, aficionado?
Oh,
Uh, I'm not sure what the term is, but Deneen, thank you so much for being here. And if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
yeah, sure. I am really excited to be here. I joined Nido just recently, and with a lot of enthusiasm and passion for Montessori. I started in 2010 after working in nonprofit management and realized that I really wanted to stay in education. So I've been teaching for 8 years, and I decided to now move to administration because I have a passion for working with families and parents, and especially heads of schools because I have a soft spot for heads of schools. They work really, really hard, and I am excited for what Nido is offering to really help schools grow and to specifically help head of schools do their job and do it well. So I am excited to get going and hit the ground running.
Awesome. Well, we're thrilled to have you. You actually gave me what I thought was some pretty amazing feedback because you've been going through the courses, through the training. And one thing you said that I appreciated was we we don't cut to the chase quite as quickly as maybe we should with some of the education. Did I state that appropriately? And do you want to expand on that at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm imagining, how busy heads of schools are and what they do throughout the day. And there is so much amazing information that Nido has, and you guys have so much knowledge that I think taking it in increments and smaller pieces will be easier and more, or heads of schools would be better able to grasp that in smaller versions. Because I can't imagine being able to sit down for hours on end in a day, especially when school is in session. So, yeah, I think that that's something to think about, and I'd love to hear other people's ideas too, if that is kind of what they were thinking as well.
And one of the notes I have for all of our members that hopefully everybody gets really excited about is Deneen is being brought in as our new community manager. And so she's going to be, the voice within Nido and kind of an advocate for all of our members because the education is being created by marketers, but it's not being created by Montessorians. And so Deneen's here to bridge that gap, which honestly I think is just sorely needed. So, right now, Deneen, you're still going through training, and I know we're doing some introductions, but I'm excited to see you get started and sort of dive in and connect with some of our members.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys, I apologize. I'm working remotely. I'm going to close a window. But Deneen, you mentioned that you were going through some of our coaching calls. I think you went through all 6 sessions so far, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. And when those coaching calls start up again, we're probably going to include Deneen on those as well because I think you can probably provide some additional context and information. I'm going to mute my mic real quick, but while I do that, if you're on the call and if you have any questions or any topics you'd like to discuss, we'd love for you to chat in and let us know what you're struggling with, what questions you have, what you want us to address, etc. All right, and I see no chats as of yet, but Susanna and Melissa are both on right now. Thanks for being here, guys. One of the things I wanted to cover was we've got a few blogs out. The first one that I'll reference is Calendly for Chrome, which is really cool. we've talked a lot about Calendly on your website, which allows people to schedule tours directly from your site. But the cool thing about Calendly for Gmail specifically is when you're communicating back and forth with parents or prospects, you can give them the option to schedule a meeting with you directly from the email. And I'll actually pull up a screenshot of it. What it does is it gives them little icon-based images that they get to choose from and schedule an appointment basically directly from the message you just sent them. So it looks kind of like this. Um, Instead of having to play the back and forth game or send them to an offsite link, it's just a much clearer, more effective call to action. So if you're not using Calendly for Gmail, but you're already using Calendly, it's really worth installing. It takes truly about 7 minutes. I think was my count when I did it for myself, and it just sort of speeds up that process. Um, just from a scheduling standpoint, I think it's important to take a look at. Deneen, any comments or input on that from a Montessorian's perspective?
No, I want to say I really love Calendly, and it just makes things so much simpler and more organized. So yes, I'm a huge advocate.
Awesome. And then the other topic that we brought up recently is content planning. Now, we have a course on planning your content schedule. And for our third and fourth plane members, you actually don't have to take this course because we create the content on your behalf. But if you're not a third or fourth plane member, I think this is a really important course to take and really important content to engage with. And this was actually a conversation that we had recently at Nido. We're going to start being far more intentional with the content that we're creating. Right now, I'm really proud of the content. I think it's great, but it's really only being scheduled month by month. And part of what Deneen is going to bring to the table is a sort of a narrative. Am I saying that right? Kind of something that matches an overarching theme throughout the year and all ties together.
Absolutely. So when I was talking with you about this yesterday, I in my classroom, so I taught 6 to 12-year-olds, and oftentimes I would look at my year and I would have themes of communicating with parents to help them understand what the classroom is really about. Because in an elementary, especially, you've got parents that are like, I don't really know where my child is at or what's going on, and because they just don't have homework, so they don't get a lot of that feedback. So what I would do is create a theme every month that I would send stories to my parents so they would know, like, this month is a theme of working together and this month is a theme of math. And I would take a picture and send a little story about what was going on. So I'm imagining that the content that we're creating can follow a similar pattern, so then it's easier for heads of schools to for the members to go ahead and grab what they need based on kind of a scope and sequence.
I love that idea. And you also brought up the idea of making our content searchable, because right now, as good as it is, it's all just hidden in a zip file, so you don't really know what you're looking at. So in the resources section, when you go to the monthly content, the blogs, you need to download the blog and then open up the zip file and then open up the document. And your idea was to, at least on a small scale, we're not going to be Google by any means, but your idea was to make this content accessible within the members area by key phrase so that people can find things based off of their specific needs, which I thought was a really good idea.
Right, kind of like a basic table of contents so they know where to find it and what the topics are.
Yeah, a table of contents is a better way to say that. Um, Susanna just said, "I love that idea. Awesome. See, Deneen's already making things better." Um, and she's not quite yet caught up to speed, I would say. But Deneen, once we have you fully onboarded, we're actually going to do an introduction with all of our members, and I'd actually like to schedule a call with everybody to um, introduce you, get you kind of centered on what we've done for everyone so far, and then for our members, Deneen will become your normal point of contact moving forward, which I think again just helps us bridge that gap even further. Any questions anybody has? Anything anybody's struggling with? I know it's summer. We're kind of slowed down. Is that a problem? Are there any summertime blues that Nido can help address or speak to? What's the summer look like for a Montessori and Deneen? Does it go radio silent? Or are you playing catch up, building curriculum for next year?
Well, I guess it kind of depends on if your program is all year round or the school calendar year. So I coming from Bergamo actually, so I taught lower elementary. In Sacramento, we have our elementary program that goes the school calendar year, and then our primary and early childhood program goes all year round. So it looks very different for those two programs. So if you talk to the primary teachers, they would say there's a lot of children and families that leave during the summer, so you've got quite a bit of back and forth because that's where most of the families are taking their vacations. And then for elementary, we usually just take this time to recoup, replenish, reflect on how the year went and what we want to do differently, coming up for the next year. So yeah, it kind of depends on the program.
Yeah, totally understood. And if anything, at Nido, do you think we can do to help our members with some of that planning? Are there assets and templates we can create, or is that just too specific for each school?
Well, I think if we think about parent engagement, what kind of things can parents do over the summer? So offering, ideas to keep your kids active and excited because as a parent, so I'm also a Montessori parent. I've got almost 5-year-old and a 5-month old. I want to keep my 5-year-old very busy. And that can be challenging at times. So some topic on that would be really great. um, and just what kind of things we could do.
I love that idea. I'm actually going to put that on our content schedule. I think that's awesome. Um, I'll make a note for Christy now.
Oh, another
Yeah.
idea too. I saw this. Another Montessori school was doing this in Minnesota, but a book club for parents was, and I'm actually a part of that book club, and I love it because you get to know the new families that are coming in and start to build community within your parent group, and it's more engaging, and you can help with that. So it's kind of neat.
That's a great idea. We actually had an article. I think it came out in May, and it was a reading list for parents, and so that would tie in perfectly. Um, Start your book club, and then here's the beginning of a Montessori reading list. And Susanna just chatted in and said, "We have a summer camp, which is really just our attempt to provide year round options for families. We have about 30% of our student body enrolled for the summer. We're trying to have more students enroll, even if only for a few weeks. We've used your ideas to have a summer activities article that end up with a call to join us for camp." That's a great call, incidentally. If you're running Facebook ads specifically, um, use an article that speaks to summer activities in order to qualify your prospects. Because if you just send an advertisement out to every parent that you can get a hold of saying, "Hey, join us for summer camp," then really it's kind of you're shouting into the wind in a way, and your advertising is being diluted because there's way too many parents that may or may not be interested. But if you promote an article, articles are cheaper to promote. And then once people read them, you can retarget only to the people that read that article. And then the remarketing message becomes, "Hey, join us for summer camp." And you're only marketing to people that you know are interested in summertime activities because they read your article. So it's called a pivot in digital marketing terms. And it's a pretty ninja move that we've had a lot of success with. And Suzanne, it looks like you guys are doing a lot of the right things the right way. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you bringing that up. We've got about 15 minutes left for office hours, and I don't want to cut anybody short because this is your time. So if there are any other questions or topics that we want to cover, um, I'd love to field them. And I've offered this, I think, on every office hours call we've ever had. Nobody's ever taken me up on it. But if anybody ever wanted to do a hot seat, I'd love to pull up your site or your Calendly or your MailChimp, and we can actually fix your stuff right here on the call, and then people can watch it happen. And I think that sometimes empowers other folks that might not be quite as brave to be put on the spot. Um, so that's always available if anybody ever wants to sign up. And I'm hearing crickets, so I think we're good to go. Oh, wait, here we go. Susanna says, "We'd love more ideas for what to do for summer, or development doesn't take the summer off content." This is just became a priority for me. So I will have this in our writer's lap today. And if we get that ready for, I guess it would be August. Is that too late Deneen, do you think the August content is August still technically summer?
Yeah, well, it would be awesome if we could get it mid-July. Um, actually ASAP, because it is a really important topic, especially with the prevalence of screen time and iPads everywhere. I think having more content around what is possible, and then Suzanne, totally, that it doesn't take the summer off. Development doesn't, and I think as Montessorians we need to address that as often as we can, and especially when families have this free time to fill with really great things.
I'm sending Christy an email right now. Christy's our writer. She's amazing. And she's also very responsive. So I'll see how quickly we can get this punched out and if we can accelerate these particular topics. And then what's nice is next year we'll have them available and we'll have our searchable directory too for Deneen's request. Susanna says, thank you. It helps set the stage for next year's screen time tips in more approachable language would be amazing. What's a screen time tip?
How to manage it, and what to do with it, because it tends to be kind of one of those things that parents, they know that it's not great to put their children in front of a screen for an extended period of time, but they also um, want to be aware of that and what to do with it.
Mm,
And how to manage it, especially if you've got like a 4-year-old who has been exposed to it and totally melts down when you take a screen away. Parents definitely want to know what are some options in that.
got it. I'm adding that too. And Susanna chimed in with why not to use it as a babysitter. I think that's a great piece of content. It seems to be a really hot button topic for us. Yeah, I've seen that elsewhere as well. Some of the micro communities that our other members have, this has come up more than once, for sure. So I think this is definitely something that we can speak to. And I'd actually love, I think this would be a great topic for us to create an infographic on because I promise there's data out there on the impacts of screen time. And so I think we could, as long as it's not too heavy handed, I think we could create a really cool piece of media that schools could use to share with their parents. Making a note to do that too. Awesome. Susanna, thank you so much for those requests. That's so helpful. Um, that's exactly what we need. And anything else? Any other content or assets? We can create videos, incidentally. We can do custom video creation, animated explainer videos, whiteboard videos, infographics, of course. Blogs are easy. White papers are easy. Anything our members want or need, we're very receptive to producing because it just helps the entire member base. So it doesn't have to be on this call, but if you're listening to this recording and you think to yourself that you've always wanted a blog on I don't know what, send it off to us. If it's something that we think would serve the member base, we'll absolutely build it. Um, yeah. And Susanna said, "Thank you. I didn't mean to send the question. Sorry. No problem. Thanks for being on the call. Really appreciate you and the participation. Melissa and Nicole, let us know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, input. And Deneen, how do you think we did for your first office hours?
Great. I am really excited. I love this stuff. This is totally what I'm passionate about. So, and sorry, I have my 5-month-old in the background.
Okay. I think this is probably the most forgiving community when it comes to kids, so I'm sure we're fine. Um, awesome. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Truly grateful to you for being members. We've got, I think, another, um, I believe, 2 weeks until Matt is back. So we're going to have 2 full weeks of office hours, which will just be me and Deneen on the call, ready and prepared to take your questions. And then Matt will be back on the 12th, will be our first coaching call back. And then we'll revert back over to talking about the Montessori marketing method. So July 12th, we're back to business as usual. But until then, just expect to hop on the call if you have any questions or want to chat or hang out or you're bored or you just love the sound of my voice, which is unlikely. Um, until then, thank you everybody for being on the call. Deneen, thanks so much for joining us. Grateful to you.
Yeah. Absolutely good to be here.
Alrighty, guys. We'll talk to you next Thursday.